moved around all the furniture. I don't know why it was I don't even know why they did that.
Everything is small.
I was in the couch in the
The draft. The draft.
I don't know.
When my kids were little, we had an Israeli maid. And we left her the bed sheets. We said, change the beds. We came home, the beds were moved.
There you go. Okay. Timer Vav. We began a bit of a complicated, difficult sugya, so I just want to see if we can clarify as much as we can. But we were talking about the story in the Chumash this week's parsha of Kivrois HaTaiva. So Kivrois HaTaiva, again, let's get the history clear. We came to Mountain Torah Sivan. We received the Aseres HaDibros, Koilos, Brokim. We did the Moshe Rabbeinu didn't come down from the mountain. We made an Egel Hazav. Moshe Rabbeinu broke the Luchos. On Yom Kippur, fast forward to Yom Kippur, we got from Shavuos to Yom Kippur. Hashem said, Salachti Kidvarecha, he gave him Lucha Shniyos. So that was Tishrei, Yud Tishrei of the first year that we were in, came out of Mitzrayim, Shana Rishona. After that, we started to build the Mishkan. The history here is important. We started to build the Mishkan. The Mishkan was finished when? Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And then we made Shmoynes Yemei Miluyim. Vayihi Bayom Hashmini. What happened by Yom Hashmini? Nadav Avihu died. Interesting. Nadav Avihu died. Let's keep that in mind for a moment. We made Pesach, Korban Pesach. We were able to make on Yudal Nisan. Came the day after Pesach, some anonymous gentleman came and said, Lama Nigora. Anachnu Tmeim Hayinu L'Nefesh Adam. So we're Tamei Meis. So came a Pesach Sheni. Kodesh Baruch Hu is masking to Pesach Sheni. That brings us all the way into Yud Daled Iyar. And then we were ready to move. So the Chumash says something like, B'shana Hashenis b'chodesh Hasheni. Oh, Midbar Sinai. We left Har Sinai. So we were at Har Sinai for a long time. Kol Zman we were at Har Sinai. Apparently, Tzadok teaches us here, it's Chiddush to me, that there was the matzah of Pascha Zu Hamasa, meaning the Zu Hamas HaNachash from Gan Eden, that goes there, so many things, Golos, Nisa, V'ze'esapecha Toicha Lechem. This was all ending right now at Har Sinai according to Plan A. Had there not been an Egel Hazav, there would have been a Pascha Zu Hamasa. So, V'ze'esapecha Toicha Lechem, nobody's going to work, getting Lechem min HaShemayim. It was Mashiach tek. And who was Mashiach? Moshe. He was Mashiach. They have the Mishkan, Shechina Sharoi. A few days after Har Sinai, the Plan A, Moshe takes them into the Promised Land. Mashiach is here, the Geul is here, it's all over, meaning we were Mesakein, the chet of Adam HaRishon. Mess up, we built the Egel Hazav. Repeated, as I've said many times, the chet of the Eitz Hadas. Significant to review and to become more and more sophisticated with what the chet of the egel was and what was the chet of the etzadas, and how was that a repetition. And I think it was repeated many times in history. But every time we're about to have a takana and be misakein the chet of the etzadas, which threw us out of Gan Eden, put us into Golus, and we're about to go into Geula, Nachamal, chet of the etzadas. So let's not assume that Adam and Chava, felt like eating an apple, the forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit in this case was, like the Nachash said, that you can be Kelokim. Yodea Tov V'Ra. You can get even higher. You can get even higher than what you are right now. However the details of that is, human participation, all the Kabbalistic terms, but the point is what the Nachash was saying, that you don't have to be a person, you can be Kelokim. You don't have to just be a blaze mensch, you could be something higher. So it doesn't sound like such a bad proposition. I certainly would have fallen for it. I did. I mean, the Eitzadas was a very compelling Aveira, if it will. But whatever it was a chet. It was a chet of the Eitzadas, and it needed a tikkun. So the tikkun would have been to be completely selfless and be makabel the Malucha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu at Har Sinai, and Moshe Rabbeinu was anach numa and had no zich at all, had nothing personal in this at all. Anav mikol adam. So Moshe Rabbeinu could have been Mashiach, and Klal Yisrael could have had that tikkun, except that again, chatu b'chet ha'ego, which was the modern version, if you will, in 2448 of the Eitz Hadas, which was in year 0 or 10. So here it was again, repeated. So let me just. Rav Tzadok tells us here, and I don't know differently, that as long as we were at Har Sinai, we were in a situation of Pascha Zu Amasa. Is that what he says? Ki achar Yom HaKippurim nishar adayin ezer roishem hainu shirish hatayva dietz shebelei menurav shadayin lo nispata lagamri. What happened when we came after Har Sinai to Kivros HaTayva? I'm going to get back to Har Sinai in a minute. But what happened is when we left Har Sinai, we came to a place called Kivros HaTayva, horrible name, and it was called only Kivros HaTayva after we went there, and we made a Beis HaKvaros there. Let's just be very, very simple. What happened to Kivros HaTayva? People died. People died because of their taiva. They died. Kivros HaTayva, the tomb of lust. Dying. What do we know from dying? Dying has to. It was already Pascha Zu Amasam by Har Sinai. Pascha Zu Amasam. Apparently, there was no misa at Har Sinai. So all of a sudden, we're dying. Why are you dying? Rabbi said, Kivros HaTayva. Why are we dying? Nachamon. Lust. Again, the Egel Hazav. Again, it comes out to, which we're going to explain that, we need basar. We need basar in the Slav. We have taiva. This was again an Egel Hazav. It was again an Eitz Hadas. I don't want to lose what I want to say here. So, Mechatesa Misa. The answer is that it was Pascha Zu Amasam. So if it was Pascha Zu Amasam, there was no Misa. All of a sudden we're dying again. Why? Kivros HaTayva. You see, so Tzadok explains that yes, we lost. There was a Pascha Zu Amasam with the Salachti Kidvarecha, but nevertheless, there was still some kind of a shirish there, which wasn't Niskan Lagamri from the time that they made the Egel. So it was geographically oriented, meaning as long as we were at Har Sinai, the grass was growing, and we were in Gan Eden there at Har Sinai. As long as we were there, it was Pascha Zu Amasam. As soon as we left, the little bit of Pascha of light Pascha Zu Amasam remained. So this is the history for a moment of the Zu Amasam Nachash. So everybody with me so far? So comes Reb Tzadok and he says that what happened at Kivros HaTayva, Adayin lo nisbatu lagamri af shenekar l'sha b'Sinai. Even though dervile temporarily, we were nakar, we did tshuva on the egel, so it was nakar ben siyasa misham as soon as we left Har Sinai, hozar. The Zuamas Nachash came back, and it came back with a vehemence. Why? Because here all of a sudden we want basar. What's so bad about wanting basar? Who doesn't want basar?
What was it about Sinai that made it not come back until they left?
What was it about Sinai? The Shina.
I thought it
They
was
were in a matzav of, they were in an incubator situation. But what happens when you leave that incubation, and now you're in the real world? They still had mun. What about the mun? I mean, what was this worse than everybody standing in Burger King or whatever the place is called, Burger Nash, waiting for basar? I mean, yachiledu basar. There was something that they should have been happy if we would have really get a load of this. If we would have really been misake the chet of the Eitz Hadas with our tshuva, we would have been happy with man. Because lechem min hashamayim, that's Gan Eden. No work, everything's nice, no digestion, no elimination, purity, pristine. Gan Eden. We weren't happy with that situation, as probably none of us would be. We weren't happy with being so malachius, so angelic. It's too much. So the taiva, if you will, of Kivros HaTaiva was a gilgul of the Egel Hazav, which was a gilgul of the Eitz Hadas, which caused what? Misa. Because that's what the Eitz Hadas did. It was Gar Misa Li'ayla. Parentheses. Just say something. Go back to Har Sinai. Reverse. Rewind. We're at Har Sinai. We're there. We build a Mishkan. We bring a carbon Pesach. Comes the people, they say, hey, we couldn't participate in the carbon Pesach because we were Tamei Mace. Mace?
How?
I'll give you a mace. Only 2 people died. Only 2 people died the whole time. Who? Nadav Avihu. Nadav Avihu. So when they said they were Tamei Mace, what they meant to say is they were Tamei to the base of Nadav Avihu. So Nadav Avihu, somehow or another, there was a. How did they die? If it was Paschal Zumasa, that's what you're asking. We know who died. Well, 2 people died. Nadav Avihu. Nadav Avihu, let me point out, did exactly what Adam HaRishon did. We don't know what they did. We don't know what he did. We don't understand what either one of them did. But what they did, what it was all about was looking for more than by Chayla.
They had a taiva for Hashem.
Taiva, let's call it even a taiva ruchnis, to be mamish godly.
It's above and beyond.
Yeah, grabbing further. Right. Like the Mishnah says in Chagiga that Azai hitzitz v'beis, ben Zoyba hitzitz v'nifka, Acher hitzitz v'katzatz v'natiyos. Hitzitz. What does that mean? Hitzitz. I want to see. I want to see the. So curiosity killed the cat. Excuse me. But it was the same. It was the same thing as. It was the same thing as Adam HaRishon. It was the same thing as the Egel Hazav. The Egel Hazav. I mean, come on. I mean, what did they do? They didn't. Okay, by Kuba al-Latzachik, it brought to Avodah Zarah, it brought to Gila Arayis, but the taiva for Avodah Zarah, everybody has to admit, is at least in the superficial sense a spiritual sort of a taiva. It's not a, it's not
Physical.
Yeah, it's not. You're not getting a massage here. I mean, it's a spiritual sort of a taiva. Wrong, very wrong. Which needs to be understood why it was wrong. But it was such a spiritual time, as I pointed out on Shabbos, that it was because of Avodah Zarah that the Bayis Rishon was nechra. There was a miss. How do we like a friendly fire? It was like a miss. misguided, a taiva for ruchnius. Hard to understand, but I guess this is what we're here for.
How is this a time for Ruchnius if they rejected the Ruchnius of the man?
They wanted,
it seemed,
right, they
rejecting
wanted to be
Ruchnius.
mekadesh the gashmius. So Adam HaRishon doesn't want to be, just like a malach, he wants to have some ra. So if you get a little grungy, so then you're in a higher level of stuff, because we all relate to this. So listen to the Arizal. I don't claim to know what this means. The Arizal says that important to understand that nadav aviyu look, what did they say? The Arizal's not my word, the Arizal's word. Sharak Yogulim. What did they say, those that became Tameh Meis to Nadav Avihu, and therefore they said we need to bring a Pesach Sheni. Anachnu Tmeim to what? Nefesh Adam HaRishon. Notice that we're talking Tamei Nefesh. The word Adam there is completely extra. Tamei Nefesh. Anachnu Tmeim.
What's the Nefesh?
Because Adam HaRishon was chet Nefesh Baruchai, says the Arizal, not Nishmasai, Nefesh Ruach Neshama Naran. Neshama was Gevaldik, Neshamas don't do Averas. Nefesh and Ruach get misguided and do Averas. Nefesh and Ruach, where's Guf? Adam HaRishon was together of Nefesh and Ruach. Nadav Avihu was divided up Nefesh and Ruach. Between the two of them. Don't ask me how he knows this, but it makes sense. Nimshach, this is already Mashman Chazal. Where did they get that? Where did Nadav Avihu get this? Why were they so unusual, so special? Vayidoy Aaron. I got nothing to say about Nadav Avihu. This was a very, what are you going to say? A very, very complicated Misa. But it was Misa. Why? A Nefesh Adam. Because they repeated the chet of Adam HaRishon.
It was also good Misa.
Misa. What was this Misa? It was well, like here we are, Pascha Zumasam. Nadav Avihu wanted more. Hitzitz v'meis. They wanted more. Okay, Nadav Avihu. Comes the Eish Hashem and brings Misa back into these two. Nachnu Tmein l'nefesh Adam l'manigara. We shouldn't bring a Korban Pesach because of the chet of Adam HaRishon. Comes there, Arizal, he says, where did Nadav Avihu get this from? Achi my uncle Nachash. Analyze that name for a minute, Nachash. Achi Imai was Nachash ben Aminadav. Chazal say Nachash ben Aminadav, Raya Hayaliyos Meshiach. Nachash ben Aminadav split the sea for us. It was tzaddik. So he had a koach of Mashiach. A koach of Mashiach, like Moshe had a koach of Mashiach. Nachash had a koach of Mashiach. This koach of Meshichius went into Nadav Avihu. Their job was to be misaking the chet of Adam HaRishon. In order to be misaking the chet of Adam HaRishon, you have to have the Nisayon of Adam HaRishon. The Nisayon of Adam HaRishon is we want more. They, Kinireh, failed in the Nisayon. V'yitzei Meis Hashem, and a fire comes down and kills them. Et Shel Nachash. And they die. Vayidoy Aaron. Okay, what can I say? This is a Misa. This was the Misa that the whole world is cursed with this Misa. What am I going to say? My kids died. What is he going to say? Vayidoy Aaron means this is the Misa. This is it. Das ist das. This is the Misa. So Vayidoy Aaron, and the people came. They said Lava Digara Beseder, but they died. We were betapa with them. This all has to do with the Nefesh Adam, so Lama Nigara. Now we're not allowed to bring a Korban Pesach. because of the chet of Adam HaRishon, the new halacha here. We're not allowed to bring Korban Pesach, so Kadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe Rabbeinu confers with Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's interesting. Why wasn't this in the Torah l'chatchila? Why does this need a special, a special? What's it called in the legal world? A special
Amendment.
I don't know.
Dispensation.
Dispensation. Very good. Special halacha, like a special nevuah, just for this, because it all has to do with Plan B. It doesn't have to do with Har Sinai. The Har Sinai situation would have been Pascha Zo'abasa. There would have never been a Nadav Avihu 6 months later, or whatever it was, from Tishrei to Nisan. It would have never happened. There was a Pascha Zo'abasa. Now Nadav Avihu dies, we see Loi Pascha Zo'abasa L'Gabri. It was only Nekar L'Shon, even at Har Sinai, we still got that Adam HaRishon in us. Right, Nadav Avihu all still have this Adam HaRishon. Where did they get it from? From Uncle Nachash, which we'll speak about in a minute. Uncle Nachash, the tzaddik. Mar says that you need a special halacha for Plan B because the Torah is Plan A. Stavro. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "What do I do now? We didn't know. We weren't planning on this. Just like we weren't planning on not going into Eretz Yisrael after a couple of weeks." There was no Meraglim. They were going to leave here, but Kibbutz Hataiva and all these places. We're going to leave here 2 weeks again. We're in the Promised Land. Mashiach. We're there. We spoke about this. What's the gematria of Nachash? Easy. None. 358. Gematria of Mashiach. 358. What do we want from Mashiach with a snake?
It's a Nachash Kach. Influence.
First of all, the chet in Mashiach is, as I keep on repeating here, is like the new. We know something here in this about Mashiach that nobody realizes. The chet Mashiach is not that he's here to end our tzaros. The chet Mashiach is he's here to be Mesach in the chet of Adam HaRishon, or the chet, more specifically, of the Nachash, to undo that which the Nachash did. So Mashiach and Nachash is obviously the same.
So is always Meshiach? There's always Meshiach. Every generation is a Meshiach. It's not so
Every generation is a Mashiach, but it's deeper than that. Of course, it's deeper than that. But every Mashiach is going to have the Nisayon of Adam HaRishon to want more and to push it further, and know how to deal with that. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu was a Mashiach. He pushed good. Now the Avihu were also Meshichim. Nachash was a Mashiach. Amram was a Mashiach. Yishai was a Mashiach. How do I know all this? Gemara says, Arba Mesu Be'etu Shel Nachash. Amram, Nachash, Yishai.
Then the message from Nehemiah where they insisted on Avodah Zarah, that there was no ruchnius component. Yirmiyahu, yeah. There was no ruchnius component there. It was pure, we just want to be able to control the gashmias.
Look, of course it's ruchnius. It's a ruchnius. It's a ruchnius for me, not a ruchnius for Kvod Hashem. Like spiritual people are attracted to these segulos, as I spoke about Javas. It's spiritual people that it's really it's like sort of a mind-boggling thing. Like if you say we would witness a seance, or we would like we'd all be standing around a table and be able to levitate, some kind of a dead body or something. Cool. I mean, we would really see this. I mean, you would see it as a spiritual. It means to say not everything is under a microscope, and not everything is. Yes, a kishuv is a very spiritual experience. The Gemara says that Menashe said in a dream to Ravashi that don't knock us avodah zarah. Menashe HaMelech, don't knock us avodah zarah. Because if you would have been there, you would have never been able to resist it. Well, it's so hard to resist. I think I could resist avodah zarah. I don't know. Like it's a very, very compelling spiritual experience. It means it's very otherworldly. It means that there's something beyond what's here. So what's the problem? The problem is, but it's not about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's very dakistic, this Avodah Zarah thing, and that's the pshat to and it brings bracha to this world. And we see that rain, for instance, which was, of course, the all the way as I spoke on Shabbos to Chon Yamago, rain, which is like the one thing that, as much as they're trying to burst clouds and create rain, and like rain is the one thing that the mafteach is bidei shemayim. It's amazing when I say what we can do, and it's amazing what we can't do. I think about it all the time. It's amazing. I mean, lately, unfortunately, I've been hanging around Hadassah Hospital. Half of a fellow, the technology, what they could do. I was talking to somebody whose specialty, he's a anesthesiologist, which specializes in utero anesthesiology of the baby. So, they asked that, but can you do something about my cold? In utero anesthesiology of the baby. I mean, who knows the baby's in pain? Like the chachma that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was megala to the world is unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I was just, they could do full, not to mention they could do full heart surgeries, open heart surgery before a baby's born. Half of the fellow, but at the same time they can't seem to be able to control an infection, or they can't seem to control, So it's the point is it's very compelling. It's very compelling, and Avodah Zarah is very compelling. Let's understand this. So Nachash, let's just not lose the important track that we're on here. Nachash meis be'et shel Nachash. Yaakov Avinu didn't die. Yaakov Avinu lo meis. Who else in history didn't die? Eliyahu Navi lo meis. Okay, who else? Zacchaeus. Rabbi Nasi didn't die. The Gemara says that Shas P'ti Rasa Shel Rebbe L'Bonai Anitzarech. He called in his sons and he told them, Shimon B'nai Nasi, this would be Rosh Hashiva, he told the sons what to do. And Tehem Mitasi Mutzas L'Fonecha. Keep my bed there. Don't change the beds. Keep my bed there. Why? Because he said, Kol Beis Shimshei, because every Erev Shabbos I'm going to come visit him. Kol Beis Shimshei Have Asa L'Beis, the Gemara says. That's what the Gemara says. Gemara says Kuf Gimel. But there was why? Because what was the pshat? I think the Maharal explains why was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi from all the great Tanoim, Rabbi Kiva or Meir, he didn't die, because he was the one who was able to hold up his fingers and say that I have everything. I was to good food and to palaces and to the riches but he held up his 10 fingers. He says, "Lo nanisi afilu be'etz b'ktana." 10 fingers means the 10 malachas that you have to do to bring the piece of bread into this world. 10 malachas, that's why we hold the challah with 10 fingers. Meaning the b'zeyas hapecha toicha lechem. Like Nanisi, he's a Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, which sets a tzaddik, that he went lamala from the chet, so did Yaakov Avinu, others. But there were those that died, they were huge tzaddikim, but they died be'et shel Nachash. It means to say they were such tzaddikim, they died only be'et shel Nachash. So what does it mean? That Nachash could have been Mashiach, because he had that Nachash in him. Look at David HaMelech, the Nisyanis that he had, all the Malchei Yisrael. The Nisyanis that they had, it was all Nadav Aviyudik, it was all Mashiach-dik, it was all Nachash-dik, the wanting to stretch higher. So Nachshon had the koach to walk into the sea and split it. That's Mashiach-dik. The chutzpah Mashiach, Arizal calls it. Is to take the klipa of chutzpah. Mashiach is to take the klipa of chutzpah and to be and to turn it around to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chlipas HaChutzpah. Chlipas HaChutzpah. So it's a chutzpah to walk into the water one day. He's challenging Teva. He's challenging Teva. He's challenging the Midas Elikus in this world. Seder. Thus Zaken. Look at the sentence here. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit ADP. Tzaddik says here, you have it inside?
Mashiach's got to be 80.
What happened in Kivros HaTaiva? Let's get back to the block. What happened in Kivros HaTaiva? What happened in Kivros HaTaiva was that there was still some Taiva. The Taiva is Ma'od Dak. Not so Gashmias, not so Ruchmias. Even the Basar wasn't so Pashat. It was a Bechina of Nadav Aviyu, which received it from Nachash, good way. He died Ba'achish Shal Nachash. Something interesting, I don't know if the versions say or not, they probably do, but I was once talking about on this. Yishai also. Yishai, Nichnas B'achlosia, the Gemara says, Yatza B'achlosia, V'darish B'achlosia. So Rashi says that when Yishai, that's David HaMelech's father, wherever he went, he was like such a chashuv a mensch, that wherever he went, there were thousands of people around him. He was like a big Rebbe, Yishai. Like he wasn't the guy walking around, David, who are you? My son's David HaMelech. Yishai was huge chashuv a darash, and he was darshan barabim. When he would darshan, thousands of people come. Rashi says Shishim Riboy, maybe that's a Guzman, I don't know, but sometimes Shishim Riboy is a Guzman. But that was Yishai. Yishai was such a tzaddik. His father was Oveh, he came from Rus, right? We have at the end of Rus. So Yishai was such a tzaddik, so the Gemara says, Meis Be'achish Shal Nachash. So who was he married to? Not who did he marry after David HaMelech was born? I think. Who was David HaMelech's mother? My God. Trivia question. I think her name was Abigail Bas Nachash. Check it out. Aledovaru, right? Abigail Bas Nachash, that was Yishai's wife. Abigail has to do with and Bas Nachash, which probably, I can't imagine anybody named a kid Nachash. It was a description. It wasn't a name like Nachshon.
Where does Nachshon come from? How did they call him? What did the name Nachshon?
Nachash.
I understand that. I'm saying there was something happened with Nachshon that it was called Nachshon?
I don't know. They realized his neshama came from. It gets complicated here. I don't want to complicate everybody's mind, but Korach, Moshe, what's going on over here is all
way up there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So he says as follows. He says, "Sham kavru hamisavim v'nishtaber koyach hatay v'shlohim shobam kol kach." So what happens is, just to get back to where we are, that okay, there was a Nadav Avihu, there was a Tmei Mace, there was a Pascha Zulamasa but Har Sinai, but like Pascha Lagamri. Like Pascha Lagamri, what happens is that they go out of Har Sinai, they get out of the incubator, and Nishkut. By Yisavu Taiva. Yisavu Taiva, Moshe Rabbeinu said, Givalt, what was his legend over here? Lama Ha'reyoisa. Kill me now. Can't put this Taiva business. Because he realized that this is not about wanting a hamburger. He realized that this is about the chet of the Eitz Hadas. I thought we were finished with the Eitz Hadas. I thought I stood at Har Sinai, Mayim lo shasisi, lechem lo achalti. I got lucha shniyos. Didn't you say, Rebbeinu Shalom salachti kidvarecha? What's the... Okay, we went through another Vaviyu. Maybe that was just, like a Yotzim in a klal. What's this Vayisavu Taiva b'machna? So Moshe Rabbeinu gets so upset, when he says that, so here by the Egel Azav, he was willing to fight, but here, if you like me, kill me. That's what he said. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said. Those are his words. If you like me, kill me. Not because of the basar, but because of the Eitz Hadas. Okay, so the whole taiva that we thought was gone was really just dormant. And the Hasaf Suf Asher Bekirbo were able to fan the flame of Zuama, because by the Erev Rav, there was never a Pascha Zuama Samlachora. So they were able to arouse the taiva in the Klal Yisrael.
Instigate.
Yeah, and here we were again, Vayisavu taiva. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings a Makkah Gedola Ba'am, and we buried the Balei Taiva. This was the first big Misa since Yetzias Mitzrayim, and since the Egel.
We didn't bury Taiva.
And we buried the concept of Taiva. We tried. Kivers HaTaiva, Sham Kavru HaMisavim V'nishtaber Koyach HaTaiva Shloyim Shalbam Kolkach. Something like we did at the Yachik Nesses Agdola did by the beginning of the Bayis Sheni. The Kivros HaTaiva is important. We buried the Taiva. I don't know if we want to go pray at that cemetery. That's something.
Is the Erev Rav buried there too? Like, are they? You
Also.
think they were the main?
The instigators.
And so it seemed like all the Erev Rav should have been killed also, and that's.
Just the Asafsuf of the Erev Rav. There's a group within the Erev Rav. Asafsuf Asher B'Kirba. Now listen to this. Let's do this one line before we break up. V'kibalti. If you have a sefer, read it, see it inside, because you won't believe me. V'kibalti. I have a Kabbalah, Rav Tzadok says. Once he says that, it's already exciting. V'kibalti. Mimi sheniklo loy misoid Hashem lireyav. I have a Kabbalah from somebody who had Ruach HaKodesh. I don't know. The Sham, that in Kivros HaTaiva, Sham meis Nachshain. That's where Nachshain died. Nachshain, the tzaddik. Nachshain ma'aminadav. B'shal zeh damar, and that's what it means in this week's parsha, Perak Yudal, Pasuk Lamed Gimel, Makkah Rabba, V'hika Hashem Makkah Rabba Ba'am. Makkah Ba'am is everybody died, but the tzaddik Nachshain, who split the sea for us, he died. Nira, Dal Ken Nikra Nachshain, because he was Nachshain, he was a carrier of the Etcher Shel Nachash, Nachshain. Al Ken Nikra Nachshain, Gam Ken Al Shem Nachash Ki Yishai. Ki Haya Bayrak HaRishon the Etcher Shel Nachash, because he was carrying. Why did he die? I don't know if he did anything wrong, but he did do something wrong, meaning he was a carrier of Taifa, because Mashiach is a carrier of Taifa. So either you're Mashiach or you die. It's V'oisi is Vav Nun Nachshoin. What's that Vav Nun? Hey Meloshen HaKodesh. Whenever you see the Vav Nun at the end of a word, it's lahaktin. It means it's a microcosm of the concept. Nachshoin to my Ishoin HaMaves. When you sleep, it's like Shena Ishoin HaMaves. 60 of them. He's a shtickle big piece. How you buy betachlis hakatnus? I always remember what I had an Adam Gadol stay in my house once. Adam HaRishon took this deep nap. I said, "Is over all that?" Tom came on vacation to my house in Buffalo, New York. So he took a vacation from Toronto, and so he slept for like an hour and a half. He really slept 2 hours maybe. I started worrying about him. He got up, I said, "How was your nap?" And he said, "If sleeping is 1/60th of Misa, Misa must be very gishmak." That's how Talmud Chacham wakes up. Misa must be very gishmak. Ishoin Hamava. So the Vav Nun is a microcosmic level of the prefix, which is Shena. So Nachshoin, he was a shtickle Nachash. A shtickle Nachash, a banzai Nachash, a miniature. Ki haya betachlis hakadnus. Ki taivosam basar, this that they wanted basar, mistamahaya l'shem shamayim. Certainly Nachash. What do you want basar? All of a sudden basar. The whole time at Har Sinai they were not worrying about basar. But all of a sudden basar. Mistamahaya l'shem shamayim l'chavod Shabbos. Now it sounds like it's sounds like a davarach. Chavod Shabbos. All of a sudden they want basar. Chavod Shabbos. The pshat is what they wanted to do was to be mekadesh the gashmis. That's the Yetzadas. What they wanted to do is what was it, lechem min hashamayim? Let's take some lechem min haaretz and some basar, some like basar. You know, say I have a basar guy, it's like a basar. Trying to work. Let's be mekadesh that. That's what Shabbos is all about, isn't it? Kedusha Shabbos, isn't it? What Shabbos is all about? Taking the gashmis, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, and this is how we started Kedusha Shabbos, being mekadesh it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the world, our job is to take it, be mekadesh it, and bring it back up to Shemayim. So that we're ready for that. What's wrong with that?
So the Meragelim was like a reaction to that. They went too far the others.
Oh, too far, what? Wanting only Ruchnius, you mean?
They were trying to do a tikkun for that.
Not going to Eretz Yisrael. Not going to Eretz Yisrael. So this is what we're going to learn inside, but this is, I just want to say this before we end here for the week. This is what's counterintuitive here. He explains there was, you go through different times. Right now, what Klal Yisrael was supposed to have, again, we're talking about a couple of weeks. Leaving Har Sinai, how far does it go? How long does it take to get from Har Sinai to Eretz Yisrael? Today in a Jeep, how long does it take? 5 hours, 6 hours. So, a couple of days walking. I was being medayik in the car yesterday that when I reached Modi'in going to the airport, pick somebody up, take somebody back. Modi'in, the Chazal say, assuming it's the same place, that Modi'in for the Oilei Regel was 1 day walking away from Yerushalayim. In a car, it's 35 minutes, 40 minutes, let's say, depending on who's driving. So it comes out that every half hour you go is another day of walking. Like you can be medayik like that. So they were right there. There was a period of time here. This is something just opening up as a bit of a targum. There was a period of time here in the Midbar where we were holding by lechem min hashamayim. We're not holding by basar. There was a time when we were going to Eretz Yisrael where we were holding by basar. So here you have like the Kivrei Satayim is saying, Nachash, give us basar. By the Meragelim, they were saying, give us man.
Before after the chet.
Right, so you're saying it's a reaction, a good word. It was a reaction, but they were both wrong because there's a tkufa of lechem min hashamayim and there's a tkufa of basar. They were trying to get the tkufa. There's a tkufa of, let's put it this way, of Eitz Hadas, and there's a tkufa. You ever wonder why, like the Eitz Hadas did us so much damage? Why the original name is Sefer Eitz Hadas? It's like a good thing, everything at its right time. Like Das is, we're not against Das, it was the wrong time. Why? And as I say, this is counterintuitive to me from my extremely limited amount of medical knowledge. That right now, Klal Yisrael has to be in an incubator of lechem min hashamayim. Right now, after Har Sinai, during Har Sinai process, until they get to Eretz Yisrael, they've got to have only spiritual bread. No elimination, no psolas. This is what they needed at the beginning of their formation as a people. They get into Eretz Yisrael, that's when Eretz Yisrael is all about being Mekadesh the Gashmias. We become people of the earth. As opposed to lechem min hashamayim, we're going to plant trees in Eretz Yisrael, right? We join the JNF and come to Eretz Yisrael. But in the Midbar, it's not about trees. In the Midbar, it's about lechem min hashamayim. Why do I say it's counterintuitive? Because usually you'd say, look, you don't want to. If you grow up in a bubble in an incubator, then you're not going to develop any ability to fight you're not going to develop any antibodies to be able to fight all the germs that are attacking me. So you would think that the formation time during the Midbar would be the time where we got to get involved in the Gashmis. But the answer is, An uber b'mei imai is not exposed to anything. If you're exposed to something, chas v'shalom, you lose that baby. An uber b'mei imai is pristine. So you have to know where you are in this world. Klal Yisrael, Har Sinai, the couple of days between Har Sinai and Eretz Yisrael, uber b'mei imai. If there would not have been Misa, if there would not have been Kivras HaTaiva, if there would not have been a lack of Pascha Zumasa, if there would have been a Pascha Zumasa, so Moshe Rabbeinu wouldn't have been able to die. If Moshe Rabbeinu wouldn't have been able to die, he would have taken us into Eretz Yisrael, and he would have been Mashiach, and that would have been that. And we would have married the Shemayim Ba'aretz. We would have everything would have happened so perfectly and so wonderfully. But Kivras HaTaiva. The point is, we didn't lose it Lagamri, and we should have lost it at least L'Shah, a couple of weeks. We should have lost it and been satisfied with the Lechem Min HaShamayim Levad. So we need to understand this. So we thought our period was that we were Yotzei La'avir Ha'olam by Har Sinai, but Ba'etzem where we were was K'uber B'mei Imai. We were at an earlier stage. You're not ready yet. So, but Adam HaRishon wasn't ready yet. Maybe eventually, but couldn't wait. None of Aviyah weren't ready yet. They weren't ready yet.
Were we wearing tefillin at that time?
Why not?
I don't know, because
We didn't have any.
Nadam and Aviyah seem to have been trying to do the exact opposite, right? They were trying to destroy the Rishima that was still left, right?
The Masakin.
The Masakin, because they knew there was still something to fix.
That's right. But this is what I'm saying, that Mashiach will always have this Nisayim. And that's why Mashiach so often go bad. A Mashiach perforce will be called Nachash, or Abigail Bas Nachash, or Yishai. There will always be a Nachash aspect to it, because how can you be Masakin, the Etche Shel Nachash, if you don't have the Nachash? So the Arba Shemeisu Etche Shel Nachash, it's because they were such tzaddikim. They were Meisu Etche Shel Nachash. It's not a stira. It's their challenge. The challenge is to be Masakin. Can you be Masakin it? No. So okay, we go back to. Okay. We'll